on video, someone backstage was recording everything, and it looked as if after we took the picture, I just walked off. So to the people on the internet, they were like, "Oh, she is not like she was so rude, disrespectful. Who did
Right.
she is?"
We don't know about none of this shit. Oh, no.
Recently in Atlanta, I had this pink Jeep that I got for my 23rd birthday. I had a hosting, like back when I used to get booked every weekend in Atlanta. So I drove my car to the hosting and someone put a tracker under my car. I lived in townhouses at this point. This guy pulled up and he couldn't get the exact house because I lived in townhome. So he DM'd all of my friends. I've been blocked this man, so he couldn't get in contact with me because he always used to write me. And he DM'd like, "Could y'all tell Jayda to come outside? I'm out here waiting on her." The creepiest shit ever.
Who is that? Somebody just requested my live. Hold on, wait. Do it again. I didn't see. Do it again. I didn't see. I love y'all so much. All right, I'm about to go. Seriously. Okay, screenshot. All right.
Things are getting messy, and not just in one lane. We've got old friendships turning into full-on fights, accusations flying left and right, and at the same time, a completely different situation brewing between some of the biggest names in the industry, and somehow, all of it feels connected. Because this isn't just random drama. This is history, tension, and behind-the-scenes energy finally spilling into the public. And once you see the full picture, it starts to look a lot deeper than people think. It all kicked off with a moment that instantly went viral. Jayda and Emily Huff ended up in a heated situation at a club, and it didn't stay verbal for long. Things escalated fast. There were claims of people getting jumped, security rushing in, and complete chaos breaking out. At one point, it was even said that Jayda herself had to be pulled off and restrained. Clips started circulating, people picked sides immediately, and social media did what it always does, turned it into a full-blown debate. But here's where it gets interesting. Because instead of this being seen as just another random fight, people started digging into the history. And what they found made everything make a lot more sense. This situation didn't start in that club. It actually goes back nearly a decade. Jayda and Emily Huff weren't always enemies. At one point, they were close, best friends. But somewhere along the line, things changed. And not in a small way. Both of them were connected to Lil Baby. And according to what's been circulating for years, that's exactly where things went left. There have been long-standing claims that Jayda got involved with him while Emily was still dealing with him. And if that's true, that's not just messy, that's betrayal. From that point on, the relationship between them was never the same. No closure, no real resolution. Just tension, sitting there for years. So when they finally crossed paths again, it didn't take much for everything to explode. After the fight, Emily didn't hold back. She came forward with claims that shocked a lot of people. According to her, that wasn't the first time something like this happened. She alleged that Jayda had jumped her not once, not twice, but 3 separate times. And that completely changed how people viewed the situation. Because now, it wasn't just about one night, it was about a pattern. Some people even started saying that this might explain why Emily reacted the way she did in the club. If you feel like something is about to happen, you're going to move first. That's how a lot of people interpreted it. And suddenly, the narrative flipped. Now, people weren't just asking what happened that night, they were asking what's been happening behind the scenes this whole time. But Jayda wasn't about to let the internet control the story. Jayda eventually addressed everything. She went live and spoke about how she's been dealing with the backlash. She talked about staying mentally strong, not letting negativity affect her, and how people tend to twist things when they don't like you. On the surface, it sounded calm, controlled. But here's the thing. A lot of people felt like she didn't actually address the main accusations. Instead of directly responding to the claims, it felt more like she was speaking generally. And that didn't sit right with everyone. Critics started saying she was avoiding the real issue. Supporters said she didn't owe anyone an explanation. And just like that, the situation stayed unresolved. But while all of that was happening, another situation was quietly heating up. Out of nowhere, a completely different type of drama started gaining attention, this time involving Sexyy Red and Megan Thee Stallion. It started with something subtle, a repost. But the message behind it? Not subtle at all. Sexyy Red shared a comment suggesting that Megan's performance at a political rally played a role in a major public loss, and then added her own agreement to it. That's when people started raising eyebrows, because that wasn't random. That felt intentional, especially considering Megan had performed at that event in a way that already had people divided. Some supported it, others thought it wasn't the right setting. And now, another artist was stepping in with what looked like clear shade. But that wasn't even the first sign. Once people started paying attention, they noticed a pattern. There were moments where Sexyy Red publicly shut down the idea of working with Megan, flat out said no, and then doubled down by showing she meant it. There were also instances where she aligned herself with things that were clearly aimed at Megan, even supporting tracks that were widely seen as diss records. And then came the rumors that at one point, she had actually tried to collaborate with Megan earlier in her career. And it didn't happen. Whether that's true or not, it added fuel to the narrative, because now people were connecting dots: rejection, success, and now shade. It created a storyline that almost felt too perfect, like everything lined up just enough to make people believe there was something deeper going on behind the scenes. And when you throw industry friendships into the mix, it gets even more complicated, because in this space, who you stand next to matters. Who you collaborate with matters. Even who you don't acknowledge, that speaks loud too. Here's where things take another turn, because while all of this is happening, Megan hasn't really said much. No direct responses, no public back and forth, no messy exchanges online, just silence. And sometimes, silence says more than anything else. To some people, it comes off as confidence, like she's above the noise, focused on her own lane, not entertaining distractions. But to others, it feels calculated, like she's choosing her moments carefully, or maybe saving it for something bigger. Some fans believe she's already responding, just not in the way people expect. Through the music. There was one line in particular that got people talking. A comment about being only hot on TikTok. And instantly, people started speculating. Was that aimed at Sexyy Red? Or just a general statement about viral fame in the industry right now? Nobody knows for sure. But the timing? That's what made it interesting. Because it came at a moment where the conversation was already heating up. And when timing lines up like that, people start reading between every line, every lyric, and every move. At the same time, others think this isn't even a real beef. They believe it's one-sided, or even strategic. Because in today's industry, attention is currency. And aligning yourself with controversy, that can bring a lot of it, fast. Sometimes it's not even about personal issues. It's about staying visible, staying talked about, keeping your name in rooms you're not even in. But there's also another angle people aren't ignoring. Success. Megan has managed to build a career where she has more control than most. Ownership, independence, consistent charting. She's not just dropping music, she's building a brand, multiple streams of income, business moves behind the scenes, and doing it without relying heavily on the system the same way others do. And whether people admit it or not, that can create tension. Because when someone proves they can win differently, it makes people look at their own position a little closer. When you step back and look at everything, it's not just about fights or comments, it's about history, loyalty, missed opportunities, and the pressure of staying relevant in an industry where everyone is watching. On one side, you've got a situation rooted in personal betrayal that never got resolved. Years of tension finally boiling over in public. On the other, you've got subtle shade, possible competition, and questions about who's really picking sides behind the scenes. And when those two worlds collide, that's when things stop being random and start looking like something much bigger unfolding in real time. You've got what looks like industry tension slowly turning into public shade. And the truth is, we might only be seeing a small part of what's really going on. Because behind every viral moment, there's usually a deeper story. And whatever happens next, it's probably not going to stay quiet. So the real question is, are these situations genuinely personal? Or are they turning into something bigger for the spotlight? Either way, people are watching closely. And this, far from over. So stay locked in, because the next move could change everything.